Yesterday, I started talking about how we can build neural pathways to overcome fears, and that what the Bible said in 2 Timothy 1:7 is not just a comforting statement, but keys or codes to overcoming fear. God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. Today, I want to talk about the neuroscience of a sound mind and relate it to emotional intelligence. I believe that the soundness of our mind determines how much of the wisdom of God we can apply to solve physical problems. Once again, I would like to give a disclaimer. I'm not a neuroscientist. This is just an attempt to relate what the Bible said about sound mind to what I understand about the anatomy of the brain. Today I would like to focus on two parts of the brain that are important in this discussion. One is called the CU, which is the seat of executive function in the brain. That is the prefrontal cortex, in charge of your decisions, your judgments, and so on. And the other is referred to as the brain's emotional alarm system, the amygdala. Why is this important in our study of overcoming fear? The work of the amygdala is to trigger emotions like a security alarm system. So what you perceive as fear is actually supposed to be a protection system. But amygdala does not do the reasoning. That's left to the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for the brain's higher cognitive functions, planning, reasonings, and decision making. In the context of a reinvention, stepping out of your comfort zone or doing something that you need to do but you are scared of doing, what determines whether you are able to do it or not is how your prefrontal cortex responds to your brain's emotional alarm system. The amygdala, which processes emotions such as fear, anger, pleasure, attaches memories to emotional events and triggers when it identifies something as fear or a pleasure. When your amygdala sends this alarm signal, your prefrontal cortex starts calculating, this safe or not? Is this a good idea or not? What if it fails? What determines what you actually do is the decision your prefrontal cortex makes. In a situation called amygdala hijack in psychology, the emotions now take over the logic and the person is not able to make a rational decision. And the balance of these two, your emotions and intelligence, is fundamental to what we call emotional intelligence, which is a person's ability to perceive, to understand, to use and manage their own emotions and the emotions of others in a positive way. And also, as we study the Bible, we realize the people that are used by God often have to make decisions that defy emotional, such as people like Abraham when he was called to leave his father's house. There's an emotional detachment taking place there, breaking off emotional dependency and learning to lean fully on what God has said, believing in hope against hope when God told him that he was going to give birth to a child. Moses also, according to Hebrews 11:24, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. We see the same pattern in Daniel and the three Hebrews, Esther and the rest. I would like to close with Romans 12 verse 2 that tells us how to develop this sound mind. It says, do not be conformed to the world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of the mind, that you may discern and prove what is good, acceptable, and perfect will of God.